What happens when you pull 24 fish in 20 minutes while everyone else goes home empty? You get escorted off the lake. Last month at Lake Lanier in Georgia, a park ranger made a weekend fisherman empty his cooler and count every fish in front of 12 angry anglers. 24 bass. The other fishermen had been there since sunrise, 6 hours of casting, and their combined total was 8 fish. This guy shows up, fishes for 20 minutes, and his cooler is overflowing. They accused him of cheating. They demanded the ranger check his gear. The ranger went through everything. Legal hooks, legal bait, legal everything. But here's what made it bizarre. The guy had a soda can tied to a rope, a bag of plastic worms that smelled like an Italian restaurant, and a tiny vial of what looked like cooking oil. The ranger let him go because none of it violated a single fishing regulation. But those other fishermen? They left furious and confused. Because in 20 minutes, this guy had done what they couldn't do. In half a day. I know it sounds impossible. A soda can? Kitchen spices? But what if I told you there's a 3-part system that's been hiding in plain sight for decades and it doesn't involve a single piece of expensive tackle? What if the secret to clearing an entire fishing spot has nothing to do with the gear stores are selling you and everything to do with understanding what fish actually respond to at a biological level? Here's the real question. Can something you already own, sitting in your pantry right now, really trigger a feeding frenzy so intense that other anglers think you're breaking the law? Let me take you to Lake Fork, Texas last September. A tournament angler ran a side-by-side test that'll make you rethink everything you know about bait. 2 identical rods, same spot, same depth, same plastic worms on both lines. Only difference? One set of worms had been sitting in a Ziploc bag with garlic powder and kosher salt for 48 hours. The other set? Straight out of the package. In less than 4 minutes, the treated worm got hammered by a 3-pound largemouth. The plain worm? Nothing. First hour count, treated bait pulled an 8 base. Plain bait got 1 half-hearted tap and nothing else. By hour 2, his cooler was halfway full from the treated line while the control rod sat dead silent. Final tally, 24 fish on the garlic salt worms, 3 fish on the plain setup. Same lake, same weather, same technique. The only variable was what those worms had been soaking in for 2 days. But here's where it gets wild. He wasn't just using the bait. Before he even cast a line, he dropped a sealed soda can with pebbles inside down to the bottom on a rope and gave it 3 hard shakes. Within 90 seconds, his fish finder lit up like a Christmas tree. Fish started moving toward his position from 40 feet out. Then he added one more thing, a mixture he'd made from anise extract and crushed amino acid tablets mixed with vegetable oil. He dabbed it on the worms right before casting. That's when the water exploded. He later told me it felt illegal, like he'd found a cheat code that bypassed every rule in the game. And that's exactly how other anglers reacted when they saw his cooler compared to theirs. We recover the knowledge that the tackle industry worked to keep buried under marketing and expensive synthetic formulas. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, before I show you exactly how to make this system, you need to understand why it stayed hidden for so long. This isn't some modern internet hack or TikTok trend. This combination has roots that run deep. Michigan walleye fishermen on Lake Erie have been using garlic-soaked baits since the 1970s. North Carolina crappie hunters passed down the anise trick from grandfather to grandson. Virginia striped bass tournaments quietly use amino acid scents that never make it into product catalogs. Montana trout guides use acoustic triggers to call fish in from deep runs. 4 different regions, 4 different species, 1 universal truth. Fish respond to biological signals that store-bought attractants can't replicate because they're designed for shelf life, not effectiveness. All of it passed down quietly because the people who knew it worked didn't want the secret getting out. But the truth is, biology doesn't lie, and what I'm about to show you works because it hijacks the way fish are wired to hunt. Let me show you how to make this system at your garage workbench. You'll need 3 components, and the total cost is under $6. First, the garlic salt treatment. Grab a bag of cheap plastic worms, any color you like. You need 1 container of kosher salt, about 3 tablespoons, and 2 tablespoons of pure garlic powder, not garlic salt, pure powder. Put the worms in a gallon Ziploc bag. Add the salt and garlic. Seal it up and shake it hard until every worm is coated. Now here's the critical part. Let it sit for 48 hours. Minimum. The salt draws moisture out of the plastic and creates a porous surface. The garlic bonds into those pores. After 2 days, you'll open that bag and the smell will hit you like a brick. That's how you know it's ready. When you fish with them, they'll leach scent into the water for 20 minutes per worm. 1 bag gives you 30 to 40 treated worms. Total cost, about $4. Second, the acoustic trigger. Take an empty soda can, drop in 5 or 6 small pebbles or metal BBS, and seal the opening with duct tape. Tie 30 feet of paracord to it. When you get to your fishing spot, lower it to the bottom and give it 3 to 5 hard shakes. The low-frequency rattle mimics the sound of baitfish schooling or fish feeding on the bottom. It travels through water faster than scent. Fish hear it from 50 yards away and move toward the sound to investigate. Cost, free if you use a soda can, you are going to recycle anyway. Third, the Anise Amino Cocktail. Get a small bottle, like an old eyedropper bottle or travel-size cologne bottle. Add 1 teaspoon of pure anise extract from the baking aisle. Crush 1 amino acid tablet, the kind bodybuilders use, into fine powder using the back of a spoon. Add it to the bottle. Add 3 drops of vegetable oil. Shake it until the powder dissolves. You'll see it turn slightly cloudy. That's the amino acids activating. Right before you cast, dab a single drop onto your bait. That's it. 1 drop is enough to create a scent trail 15 feet long in still water. Cost, about $2 for a batch that lasts 40 trips. The whole system is simple. The timing is fast, and the price is nothing compared to what you'd spend on 1 bottle of synthetic attractant at Bass Pro. Next step is optional, but if you want to supercharge the garlic saltworms even further, here are 3 boosters. First, add a half teaspoon of onion powder to the bag. Onion contains sulfur compounds that amplify the garlic effect and create a second scent layer. Second, sprinkle in a pinch of cayenne. Pepper. Not enough to turn the bag red, just a light dusting. Capsaicin irritates a fish's taste receptors in a way that triggers aggression strikes. Third, add 4 or 5 drops of vanilla extract. Vanilla is sweet, and predatory fish associate sweetness with easy calories. Now your treated worms cover 3 senses: smell from the garlic, taste from the salt and cayenne, and a sweet trigger from the vanilla. The fish doesn't stand a chance. The recipe is simple, but the reason it works will change how you think about fishing forever. Let me explain why this works from a scientific point of view, because this isn't magic, it's biology. Fish have olfactory systems so sensitive they can detect 1 molecule of a scent in billions of molecules of water. Think about that. If you could smell a cake being baked 3 towns over, that's the equivalent of what a base can do. When you soak a plastic worm in garlic and salt, you're releasing sulfur compounds and sodium chloride into the water column. Garlic contains allicin, a sulfur-based molecule that mimics the scent of decaying prey and wounded baitfish. Fish are hardwired to investigate that smell because it signals an easy meal. The salt does something even more specific. It creates an ionic trail that matches the sodium levels in a fish's bloodstream. When a baitfish gets injured, it leaks blood and body fluids that contain high sodium. Predatory fish can taste that in the water. Your salt-soaked worm tricks them into thinking there's a wounded target nearby. The Anise Amino Cocktail takes it to the next level. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. When they dissolve in water, they send a chemical signal that screams food source to a fish's lateral line and taste buds. It's like ringing a dinner bell at a molecular level. In the soda can, that's pure physics. Low-frequency vibrations between 20 and 200 Hz travel through water and trigger a fish's mechanoreceptors. Those are the sensors that detect movement and feeding activity. When fish hear that rattle, their instinct tells them other fish are feeding nearby, and they rush over to compete for the food. It's a biological trigger that fires up the feeding instinct immediately. You're probably wondering, if this system is so effective, why don't they sell it ready-made at tackle shops? Here's the truth, and it's not a conspiracy, it's just economics. Garlic-soaked worms can't sit on a shelf for 6 months. They degrade. The scent fades. Retailers need products with a 2-year shelf life, so they sell you synthetic garlic essences in bottles that cost $18 and contain maybe 3% of the active compounds in real garlic. A bottle of pure garlic powder costs $3 and has 100% of the compound you need, but there's no margin in that for the industry. Amino acids are even worse for them. A single crushed tablet gives you the same scent profile as a $25 bottle of pro-grade amino attractant, but the tablet costs 40 cents. The markup doesn't work. And a soda can? That's free. You can't patent a soda can with rocks in it. So the industry sells you $50 electronic lures that do the same thing, because they can build a brand around it. The limitation isn't the biology, it's the business model. And that limitation is your advantage. Now here's where most people screw this up. Let me give you the practical guidance you'll need to actually use this in the field. First, water conditions matter. If you're fishing clear water, use less garlic powder in your mix, maybe 1 tablespoon instead of 2. Clear water carries scent farther, and you don't want to oversaturate and spook fish. In murky or stained water, you can go heavy. The particles and sediment absorb scent faster, so a stronger dose cuts through the noise. If you're fishing current, the scent trail moves downstream. Position yourself so the current carries your scent toward structure or cover where fish are holding. Second, species response. Bass, crappie, and catfish go absolutely insane for this system. Garlic and salt trigger their predatory instincts hard. Panfish like bluegill respond to it, but not as aggressively. Trout can be hit or miss depending on the water. In stocked ponds, they'll crush it. In wild streams, they're more cautious. Walleye love the amino anise cocktail more than the garlic salt, so if you're targeting walleye, focus on that part of the system. Third, what can go wrong? If you use too much anise or amino on your bait, you'll create a scent cloud so strong it actually repels fish. They get overwhelmed. 1 drop is the sweet spot. 2 drops and you've crossed the line. If your garlic salt worms aren't producing, check how long they've been sitting. After 72 hours, the scent starts to peak. After a week, it's slightly less effective, but still usable. After 2 weeks, retreat them. And if fish are ignoring the soda can trigger, try changing the rhythm. Instead of steady shakes, try 3 quick rattles, then a pause, then 2 more. Vary the pattern until you see movement on your fish finder. Fourth, test your water. Every lake, pond, and river has different chemistry. Start with a single treated worm and watch how fish react in the first 10 minutes. If you get a strike, you nailed the formula. If fish approach but don't commit, add a drop of the anise amino. If they ignore it completely, the water might be too cold or the fish too pressured. In that case, scale back and focus on natural presentation over scent. Today, artificial bait and attractant sales push over $3 billion per year worldwide. Meanwhile, homemade systems like this one are transforming fishing trips for the cost of a gas station coffee. The barrier isn't the biology. Fish don't care if your scent came from a lab or your spice rack. The barrier is habit and the industry's need to profit off every part of your setup, while equipment prices climb year after year and fish get conditioned to the same store. Bought scents everyone's using, the real edge is sitting in your kitchen cabinet. The revolution doesn't start at the tackle shop. It starts in your garage. Fishing like this isn't luck. It's understanding biology and using it to your advantage. What will you soak your worms in on your next trip? Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video.